Hello, and welcome to Glory Be. Interesting people and how they pray.
Each week, we chat with interesting people about their lives, their work, and how they pray. I'm Sharon Hanisch.
And I'm Mike Malcolm.
Our guest today is Cindy Howard. Cindy is the art teacher here at the School of St. Mary in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She grew up in Tulsa, fascinating fun fact, a couple of blocks from my husband, and attended St. Pius X Church. She graduated from the University of Tulsa with degrees in marketing and design. Before joining the teaching staff here at the School of St. Mary, Cindy worked in advertising and public relations at a variety of places and taught computer design at Tulsa Community College, Tulsa Tech, and the University of Tulsa. She and her husband Bill have 2 grown children, pretty grown, one in college. So anyway, welcome, Cindy. We're so excited you're here. We know that you're a first-year teacher here at the School of St. Mary.
I'm a newbie. Yes.
So how's that going?
You're the fun one.
Yeah.
All the kids are like, I get to go to Miss Howard's class today.
You know what? Somebody had told me it's because I speak their love language. I let them eat snacks while they do art. And so, all of a sudden.
You're their favorite.
Yeah. Because they can eat goldfish crackers while,
Awesome.
That's
what did you work on today?
Today we did clay. I had 7th and 8th. The 8th grade actually is making what I call burlap Jesus. And Alan Bryan brought us in. It's a huge, there's a whole series of them that a local artist has created. And there's Mary, and there's Jesus with the crown of thorns, and then there's just Jesus in prayer. And so I was like, burlap? 8th graders, glue, we can do this. And so I've
seen that. You soak them in glue, and then it takes
soak
whatever
them in
shape.
glue and some like plaster Paris. And we've been doing this for about 2 weeks, and I think they look actually pretty cool. So we're going to put them out in the hallway when we get done.
Do you have a face model?
Yeah, we start off with a face model. We start off with newspaper and and we layer, and then we did the burlap, and then we have to do the facial features and the facial hair for Jesus, and so it's been fun. And then the 7th grade, they've been working on paintings of Mary for tomorrow with Mr. Bryan's class. And
yes, because tomorrow is the feast of the Immaculate Conception.
Yes,
very exciting.
So we have been working on that for several weeks with them. And then in Wheel, we worked on clay. So I'm wearing clay. I'm wearing as much as the kids. So there's Cindy that shows up in the morning, and then there's Cindy that leaves with paint and clay all over in the afternoon. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
So was it what you expected
with the kids?
Yeah.
It's been a learning experience. It's been a little bit of everything. I mean, some of them are absolutely adorable, and you're like, I'm just going to take you home. You're so cute. I'm just going to take you. And then there's others you're like, okay, we're going to focus on this. And but for the most part, I really like kids. I always have. I'm from a big family, and so it's you've got hundreds of different little personalities. They're all different, and they all approach it differently, but it's actually been a lot of fun so far. So.
Well, it's that creative art, but it's different than what you might have taught at Tulsa Tech, for example.
Yeah. I always had worked with adult students in the past, and that's like Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, things like that. And that's more career-based, people that are doing more like marketing and advertising. But this is the kind of stuff that I did in my free time and with my kids, and so it's like we've delved into paintings and pottery and art and mosaics. It's just going to be a little bit of everything. So it's just every day is new. People say it's a lot of fun. Every day is just a different animal. So I think I've been having fun. I hope they're having fun.
Did you always seek out that creative outlet for yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. I always loved art from the very beginning. I mean, I can list you my art teachers and the different things, and I always did a lot of that with my own kids and summer art camps and things like that. So it's just always been a wonderful outlet for me. So and luckily for what I like, it's not math or science. I'm not going to affect anyone's ACT scores or things like that. So I kind of view it here at St. Mary's like this can be a break for them to come in, have a little fun, and we're not grading on the quality of the work. That's totally subjective. It's just, hey, let's take a little break, let your mind kind of relax a little bit, so then you can be geared up to go into science or math or the other, core classes and be focused. And so it's just kind of a fun appreciation, gives them a little break. It's how I view it.
Well, I'm sure for a lot of kids, that's their primary focus. I mean, it's too early in sixth grade to really decide what you want to be for the rest of your life. But if they're considering things, then they can explore media that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely. And there's definitely kids that I've been blown away by the talent of some of these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been an eye-opener to me. I'm like, wow, that's astonishing. That is awesome. I'm like, so it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. You've been a parishioner here for how long? 20 years? More than that?
Yeah, maybe 22, 23.
Okay, so you've been here a long time. I mean, we've known each other a long time. I consider you, very active in your faith. So we met playing softball back when we were young adults.
Oh, nice.
For the diocese, but then you came here as we did and had your kids here. Mm-hmm. You were very involved in the school. You helped launch the tennis tournament. You one time headed up the Mary Fair picnic part. You've been in small faith groups. You're church goers. Why do you think you're involved in the church?
Well, I mean, for me, I grew up in a family of seven kids, and a church was just part of it. That's how my parents chose the house they picked. When they moved to Tulsa, it's close enough to parish that we can walk and the kids can go back and forth. And, so literally just like the Hanisches, we were just a couple of blocks away. And I mean, it may sound cheesy, but we walked to church together. We walked home from, it was just an integral part. My mom grew up in Kansas, so everyone she knew was Catholic, and it was just an integral part of the family. And so we just grew up with that appreciation, and I just felt like our family was such a blessing. And, my parents always told us, it's like, you're going to need faith. You may not need it now. You may not understand it all now, but you will need this faith. So it was kind of like, we're giving you the keys that will help you, have a successful life and to enjoy the life that you have. And so it just was always ingrained in us from a young age. And when I got married like you and we came here, it's like, well, this is your church family, and you jump in and you get involved, and that's how. And I'm not saying we don't do anything that anybody else does. It's just you make your friends, and your friends are, the parents of the kids your kids are going to school with. And we started off, we thought, well, we'll go to the public schools and give that the old college try. And I remember Josh was in first grade, and we went to back to school night, and it was just Bill and I and one grandmother. And it's like, well, this is not what I want for my kids. It's like if when they're little and cute, people aren't showing up and participating, it's like, and we came to St. Mary's, and it was like a gift. It's like immediately you were enveloped in this community, and and you're around like-minded, positive people they're there. If my kids are acting up, they're going to be like, you need straight up, or it's like having a community of moms and dads and brothers and sisters that are all looking out for each other. So we just considered it like we hit the jackpot when it came to St. Mary's. It's like, oh, this is awesome. So we just knew we were home. It's like, well, this is where we're going to put the kids to go to school and try to get involved and get to know people. And
now you're an empty nester.
I am.
But now you're a teacher at
so
at the school. You couldn't
so
stay away.
So I adopted 200 in lieu of 2. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we had talked about before we started, so this is interesting people and how they pray. And when I was talking to you about kind of what you've done and what your career, you've worked in advertising, you've done public relations, you've used your gifts and talents. But one of the things you also mentioned, and I thought, on top of raising children, which is an important job, is that you had the privilege of helping your mom. I know did she live with you? You kind of like built a house in your backyard, because my mom got to meet her, and you did a lot of care up until she died pretty recently within the last year or two. So talk about that. Like, why did you mention that? Why was that such an important kind of gift in your life?
Well, that was just a wonderful honor. She was in her 90s when she passed away, and so we got to bring, and I don't know, again, this might go back to my childhood, because my dad's mom lived with us. When I was a kid, she lived with us until, she passed away, because as they grow older, it's like she lived not too far from us, and as you start seeing the aging process, and it's like, well, I was running back and forth, and there's so many things then that they're not capable of doing for themselves anymore. And then we had a few health scares, and that's what, honestly, the blessing is on my husband, Bill, because he was like, let's just, our house wasn't big enough to, bring another person in like that. We felt like she'd be comfortable. We still wanted her to have her independence, but yet totally be a part of our life. And so he converted. We have what we call the barn, which is our garage in the back, and he converted one whole side, and it was just like a little apartment for her. So she had a refrigerator and a microwave, and her bathroom and her bedroom and her living room, and she's the hub of our family. So anytime anyone came to town, brothers, sisters, anybody, we had the upstairs to the barn where people could stay with us, and it was just a joyful, beautiful thing to have her there with us. And we had meals together every night. She got to see my kids. She got to help with algebra homework and this homework and hear the drama of, oh, my friends are this, and oh, I didn't make the football team, and all these different. So it helped her stay engaged, and it was a beautiful thing then for my kids to be able to know Grandma at a completely different level. And then, like I said, when other family members, all my siblings and their kids would come, it was just awesome, because it was just the little central hub for our family. And it was just
So did she stay with you until she died?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So she actually lived with us 7 years.
Okay.
And she was, until the until the day she left, she was, mentally and physically, she was just a rock. And so it was just, I felt like an extra special gift that I got, and consequently then my siblings and our whole family, because I think it made her life a little longer, because she knew she was safe and in a good place and cared for, and she got to have engagement with kids and people and everything. So yeah, it was just a beautiful time. I would do it all again in a heartbeat. So
yeah, that's just awesome. Well, and I know, like you mentioned, that she was such a big part of your kind of love of the Catholic Church, of your instilling the faith in you, and
absolutely,
that you carry on today. So at this point, we usually transition to the How You Pray part of the podcast. And I was thinking, as I was preparing for this interview, because you are an artist and because you teach art, like, does that ever, was your mom an artist? Was anybody?
No, actually, I think the art came from my dad's side of the family. My dad, working through college, he lettered on windows and painted windows and things like that. And so, yeah, I think it came from dad's side of the family. But
well, that's so you did get it from somewhere.
Yeah, that's.
So, do you ever use art when you pray? I know there's some thing during Lent where a woman takes pieces of art, and she religious art, and she kind of explains it, and it's this Lexio of art, which I love every Lent doing. I'll have to give you, maybe we can put a link in our show notes. But I didn't know if you ever prayed with art, or when you're making art, you're praying with it. When you described even what you're doing for the kids, can art be a prayer?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely when you're working with it, and I think there's something about it, the tangible quality of art. Like we're making prayer bowls. And so these prayer bowls, basically people can put their prayer intentions in them and things like that. And I'm having them each personalize it, to their to what they like. Some kids are putting roses. Some kids are putting, just little, some are imprinting flowers into them, live flowers and ferns and things like that. So it's definitely, to me, art has always been kind of like, I don't know if I used to, in my younger, thinner life, I was a jogger. And that's kind of like when you're jogging, to me, that's when I didn't necessarily do a lot of radio listening, depending on how rough it was. But it's like that was a time for me to just kind of, I would pray when I ran. And when I do art, I sit there and pray, because it's not a solitary thing, but it's just kind of your brain calms and you just start being focused on what you're doing. And then I'll just start with, I love to say, I'd say a lot of different things, but I'll just start off with some rote prayers. And then I just it opens up a dialogue where I'm just start talking to God, about, obviously, these are the concerns on my heart. And, this is just kind of I kind of view it as like talking with a friend, just the dialogue you have with a friend. And the medium, be it art or be it jogging or be it in nature, I like to be outside. The quiet time is just a beautiful time just to kind of leave yourself open, because a lot of times I'll be like, God, I need some thunderbolts. I don't know what you want me to do. If you'll I'm open to it. Can you just a couple quick bolts to send me down a path? So doing art is similar to being in nature or doing anything, physical activities. I think your brain, after a while, your mind just kind of calms, and then you're more coherent to just kind of a open dialogue and conversation with him. That's kind of my thing, is just sometimes, especially being a mom and, when I was taking care of my mom and just all of the craziness of life, sometimes just even to have that few moments of just quiet, and then it just lends itself to, and then I'm a girl, so in that case, then I start bawling a lot, because then what do you start?
Yes, so. I like that. Art pulls you kind of into the present in the same way that nature does, or running. I'm a runner. And yeah, I'm gonna try that. I do pray. Oftentimes I listen to a podcast, but a lot of times it's a prayer. It's maybe the Examine, and it's taking me through my day, or Lexio or something. But yeah, art bringing us into the moment to be with God. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and you're not so much engaged with another person. A lot of times it's then you're engaged with what you're doing, and it just leaves your mind open to, to talk to God about the things that are going on, or, you're anxious about this or different things. So it's a very peaceful thing. Art, to me, and it's not, you don't have to be good at art. If you enjoy it, you're a winner right there, because it's not about being good at art. And I know I struggle with this with a lot of the little boys. It's like it doesn't come easily to them. So they're like, I'm not good at art. And I'm like, no, you are. It's like, are you having fun? Then you're good at art. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, they're just inexperienced.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like there's no grading system. There's no quotas on what you have to do. It's like just express yourself and have fun with it. And and a lot of the artwork we're doing is tied back to our faith. Like I said, the burlap Jesus, the prayer bowls. I try to kind of, we can do a lot of things, but that's the beauty of being at St. Mary's, is we can talk about God, and we can talk about our, our prayer life and our feelings and things like that. So yeah, we're coming up to the most beautiful time of the year, and so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be bringing that in as much as I can in the curriculum. So
if you had the freedom, this is kind of one of those gee whiz what if questions.
Okay.
So if you had the opportunity, the budget, the resources to pray your way through a new form of art, what would that be? And what would the prayer sound like?
To pray my way through a new form of art with the kids, like...
Sure. Whatever you want.
Well, I don't know. It's really just kind of my approach to it is just like how I approach art. You don't have to be good at art. You don't have to be super Christian. Yeah. I remember my son used to refer to this his friend's mom and dad. He says, "Mom, they're like super Christians." It's like that. So I think just anytime that we get a chance to do something, and like I said, we have the added advantage of being at St. Mary's, so we can speak freely about our faith and bring Christ into our work. It's just we're all the better for it. And that can be in any form. I mean, I could say, we could try weaving or, pottery or but really it's art, kind of like your whole spirituality. It's like it's all around us. There's no one thing this is art and this is not. It's like I said, if you enjoy doing it, and it doesn't matter the quality level, and if it can take you to a point to where you have a calmness and you're open to even hearing God, because like I said, we all live in chaotic lives, and it's like if it can give you a moment to even open a door that He might whisper something into your ear, then that's a beautiful thing. So
that's gorgeous. That's great.
That is great.
Great way to exercise your prayer life through that very kinetically. Well, one of the questions that we ask everybody who's on this podcast, was there ever a time in your life when it was difficult to pray?
Oh, sure.
Today.
Let me count the ways. Yeah. Well, and I mean, on a daily basis, I tell my husband Bill, it's one thing when you're up here and you're surrounded by people that, share your faith, and it's another thing when, you're in traffic and somebody cuts you off or someone does stuff, or, you're watching the news and you're like, this doesn't seem like, what God has in store for us, the lives that, some people in society, are choosing. So, yeah.
Okay. And that's fine.
Yes, I know. I mean, that's just the truth. It can get, especially with COVID and the pandemic in the last couple of years, we can just get overwhelmed with what you were talking about, the news, the person cut, and...
Well, those are just the day-to-day challenges of trying to live a faith-filled life, because it's not easy. When you're sitting in a pew and everyone around you is, it's like, well, this is easy. We can all do this. But it's like, no, it's not easy. You walk out the door and it's a crazy, chaotic world. But, I'm like everyone else. I've had... I've had a nephew struggle with some issues, my mom's health and declining, but, and it's not easy, and I have to have my little come to Jesus moments with myself and go, now, just hang in there. There's something He's trying to, prior to my mom getting sick right at the end, because I had a lot of health issues myself. I had a detached retina, and I had a knee surgery and all this. And I remember going to a retreat, and I remember talking to Father Jack. I'm like, I just feel like God's put me on the bench. It's like, okay, you need to sit over there. And I'm like, I felt like, did I do something, or am I not? Because I just felt like, doors weren't really opening. I was just kind of, and then I was watching, kind of my mom's health deteriorate and different things. And of course that made me sad. I'm like, well, I don't know. But it's not like I was robbed of anything. If someone lives to be their 90s, I just felt like it was a complete blessing. But yeah, I struggle with the same things everybody else does, and everybody wants their family healthy and their children happy, and
And I like the prayer bowl. We can put all that in the bowl, all those little worries and struggles, and give it to God,
And revisit sometimes. Mm-hmm. Go back and revisit that one prayer. I need to pray about that some more.
Absolutely. And you never really know, little things that, like, growing up, my parents would say, like, you're going to need your faith. It may not seem relevant to you now, and they sometimes you'd be coming in the church with getting a pop on the back of the head from your dad saying straighten up, and but it's like it's all the things that I want to try to do that with my kids, and then now the kids of St. Mary's. It's like, you never know. Life is difficult, and if somebody can throw you a little nugget that may help you at a difficult time or keep chugging along, then and like I said, that's kind of what the thing is with the art. It's like, if we can have some fun and do some things, then we're all better for it. So
yeah, I love that. Well, this has just been a great interview and a great podcast. We sure appreciate
Thank you,
coming.
Cindy.
Yes, that's been great. So the other thing we ask everyone that we interview is if you could ask all of our listeners to join you in praying for one thing, one prayer intention, what would that be? What would you like everyone to join you in praying for?
I think just praying for our country as a whole. Just the divisiveness right now, I think, is just so harmful, and we should have a little more civility. It's like we don't have to all agree and live identical lives, but we should be able to respect each other enough that we can, try to make some positive changes and make the world a place that we all want to be a part of. So, and I say that because sometimes things you're like, oh boy, if we keep going down this path, that's not really a path, that you want to have your family being raised in and your community. So that would be my thing. So much divisiveness lately with different political things. I just wish that people could come together and realize we have more alike than different, and we all want the same things. Mm-hmm. It's just, yes. It's like we're just playing on different ball teams, but we're all trying to get to the same, same thing. Yeah.
Well, lead us on the same ball team today. So we'll all pray, we'll all join you in a glory be.
All right.
Go ahead.
You want me to lead you? Oh. All right. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Glory Be is a production of the Office of Communications at the Church of St. Mary in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm your producer, Mike Malcolm. See you next time.